This is a horrific story, but welcome back, everybody. I am very unsurprised to see that Donald Trump would stoop this low, but I am happy to see, I'm quite surprised, in fact, to see how many people are calling Donald Trump out for this. You see, a director and producer by the name of Rob Reiner was murdered, like, very recently. Like, I think it might have happened in the last 24 hours. I've got this report from literally this morning that says Rob Reiner's younger son, Nick Reiner, was in custody Monday after being booked for what investigators believe was the fatal stabbing of the director and actor and his wife at their Los Angeles home a day earlier, authorities said. It was not immediately clear what charges Nick Reiner, 32, would face. Online records show he remained in jail on Monday. Police Chief Jim McDonnell said he is being held on a $4 million bail. So, Rob Reiner's son murdered him and his wife. Like, psychotic behavior, obviously, and this is very tragic. For those that aren't aware, he has produced and directed and acted in quite a few pretty big movies. One of the biggest ones that comes to mind is, like, All in the Family. I think he did, I looked at the list earlier, and it was a bunch of movies I recognized. Rob Reiner movies. I feel like it's worth listing because it'll kind of put into perspective, like, damn, he was a big deal. Okay, here are some big movies that he had a part in. Oh no, don't do it by release date. Do it by popularity, okay? There we go. Okay, so he was involved with Stand By Me, Misery, so that's two bangers Stephen King adaptions already. That's pretty raw. He was also involved with, there's another one here that was like a big one. I feel like they're not rating it by popularity here on this list. I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, he's been involved with a lot of big stuff. Yeah, Princess Bride and Stand By Me. Yes, Princess Bride. I forgot about the Princess. I literally watched that like a month or two ago as well. That's what's so sad. Anyway, though, that aside, he was also an activist, very outspokenly opposed to Donald Trump. And Donald Trump's response to all this has been predictably evil. So stick around if you want to see how awful it is and if you want to see what people's response has been, because you'd be surprised at how many people are calling out Donald Trump and how many of his own side are actually calling him out for this, because it's just downright distasteful. If you end up enjoying this video, consider leaving a like down below and a comment. It really does help a ton. I appreciate it. Comment, who up Xandering they haul, if you don't know what to say. And of course, maybe hype the video as well if you want to. I appreciate it. But without any further ado, let's get right into it. This is a bit of a downer, but I'll try to keep it somewhat upbeat. I don't want to get you guys all depressed with such a sad story. Representatives for the Reiner family did not immediately respond to a request for comment, and it wasn't immediately clear if Nick Reiner had an attorney who could speak on his behalf. Nick Reiner has spoken publicly of his struggles with addiction. By 18, he had cycled in and out of treatment facilities with bouts of homelessness and relapses in between. So, he clearly was quite troubled. Rob and Nick Reiner explored their difficult relationship and Nick Reiner's struggles with drugs in a semi-autobiographical film, Being Charlie. Rob and Michelle Singer Reiner were found dead Sunday at their home in Los Angeles, and investigators believe they suffered stab wounds. A law enforcement official told the Associated Press. The official, who was briefed on the investigation, confirmed that Nick Reiner was being held but could not publicly discuss the details and spoke to AP on condition of anonymity. Reiner was long one of the most prolific directors in Hollywood, and his work included some of the most memorable movies of the 1980s and 90s, including This Is Spinal Tap, A Few Good Men, When Harry Met Sally, and The Princess Bride. His role as Michael Meathead Stivic in Norman Lear's 1970s TV classic All in the Family as a liberal foil to Carol O'Connor's Archie Bunker catapulted him to fame and won him 2 Emmy Awards. The son of comedy legend Carl Reiner, Rob Reiner married photographer Michelle Singer Reiner in 1989. The two met while he was directing When Harry Met Sally. They had 3 children together, Jake, Romy, and Nick, who of course would end up murdering both of them in what appears to be a potentially drug-induced psychotic outbreak. breakdown. I don't want to speculate too much. We don't know that much about the situation, but I knew that people would want me to talk about this because it's been such massive news. And I really don't have much to say about the actual killing. It's horrific. It's a tragedy. It's really sad. It's awful to see somebody who was behind so many cool things die, but it's especially sad to see the death be a violent homicide. You know what I mean? Like, that is a lot worse than it usually is when it comes to losing a beloved celebrity or beloved artist, right? What I really want to get into, though, what I have a lot more to say about, is Donald Trump's response, because it is downright demonic. Let's get into it. Rob Reiner drove people crazy with Trump derangement syndrome, President Trump says in an insane and disgraceful post, quote-unquote. President Trump on Monday said murdered actor-director Rob Reiner had driven people crazy with his opposition to the Republican chief executive, with his bizarre ranting post on Truth Social prompting outrage from critics of all political persuasions. Reiner, who is 78, and his wife, Michelle, 68, were found butchered in their Los Angeles home Sunday afternoon, allegedly at their hands of their ne'er-do-well son, Nick Reiner, who is 32. A very sad thing happened last night in Hollywood. Hold on, let me get it better. Hold on. A very sad thing happened last night in Hollywood. Rob Reiner, a tortured and struggling but once very talented movie director and comedy star, has passed away, together with his wife, Michelle, reportedly due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome, sometimes referred to as TDS. Yeah. He unironically argued that Rob Reiner was murdered by his son because he drove his son insane by being anti-Trump. That is Trump's response hours after the discovery that this man was murdered. These people have nothing but hate for you. If you died tomorrow, they would laugh about it. A lot of the right are genuinely evil people. Not all of them, but a lot of them. He goes on to say, retardedly of course, he was known to have driven people crazy by his raging obsession for President Donald J. Trump, with his obvious paranoia reaching new heights as the Trump administration surpassed all goals and expectations of greatness, and with the golden age of America upon us, perhaps like never before. May Rob and Michelle rest in peace, the president said. Disgusting response from, unfortunately, the executive chief of the country. Yeah, pretty disappointing. Reiner, who is an Emmy Award-winning actor from the TV classic All in the Family, later director of beloved films including This Is Spinal Tap, Stand By Me, and When Harry Met Sally, was a devoted liberal and a Democrat and a major Democratic Party donor. In 2017, Reiner dismissed Trump as the single most unqualified human being to ever assume the presidency of the United States in an interview with Variety, and claimed last year to The Guardian that should Trump regain the White House, democracy in America could crumble. He was a pretty smart guy, clearly. Rob Reiner was a beloved Californian who always used his platform to make the world better, Representative Zoe Lofgren, a Democrat from California, wrote on X on Monday. Donald Trump making light of him and his wife's murder is a... Sorry, would it be murders plural? I don't even know if the article's right here. Him and his wife's murders? I know they're individual murders, but I feel like grammatically you would say he and his wife's murder, right? Him and his wife's murders? That's not right. It's he and his wife's murder. Singular, right? That's correct grammar? Am I fucking this up, or am I wrong? I don't know. Donald Trump making light of him and his wife's murders is a new low for this petty, hateful man. His party needs to condemn this. Yeah, I definitely do think the Republican Party is going to have to make a statement about Trump sooner or later. It might not be about this, but all the Epstein stuff, the economy being wrecked, the dropping approval ratings, yeah, the Republicans are going to have to eventually take hold of the ship away from Trump because he is sinking it. He's Titanicking the Republican Party. It's not good for their future. Quote, I met Rob Reiner once in a makeup room at MSNBC. It gave me a chance to note his performance as Sheldon. Note the missing O on what may be the funniest Odd Couple episode ever, recalled Post-columnist and Commentary magazine editor John Podhertz, I guess is how it's pronounced. He was so tickled and so nice. Even had he not been, Trump disgraces America with his tweet. That the White House chose to tweet it out is pathological. Cook's National Review colleague, Dan McLaughlin, added on X, Rob Reiner's politics was always the least interesting thing about him, but even if that was all he did, the man was just murdered. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, who has openly feuded with the president in recent weeks, wrote, Rob Reiner and his wife were tragically killed at the hands of their own son, who reportedly had drug addiction and other issues, and their remaining children are left in serious mourning and heartbreak. This is a family tragedy, not about politics or political enemies. Many families deal with a family member with drug addiction and mental health issues. It's incredibly difficult and should be met with empathy, especially when it ends in murder. Dude, there is some kind of creature that has invaded Marjorie Taylor Greene's brain. I swear to God. Like, she's like patient zero for the pluribus. That's the only explanation. She's not the same person anymore. I refuse to believe it. Representative Thomas Massey said that regardless of how you felt about Rob Reiner, this is inappropriate and disrespectful discourse about a man who was just brutally murdered. Quote, I guess my elected GOP colleagues, the VP and White House staff will just ignore it because they're afraid? I challenge anyone to defend it. The White House did not even respond to post requests for comment. What an absolute monster. What an absolute piece of shit Donald Trump is. He is a pedophile. He is a civilly found guilty of sexual assault. He's a fucking creep who's talked about how if his daughter wasn't his daughter, then maybe he'd be dating her. He has regularly talked about how his supporters are so cult-like they would support him even if he murdered somebody in public for no reason, just shot them in the face. Now he's actively attacking someone who was murdered less than 24 hours ago because they were an occasional outspoken critic of him, despite not even being a political figure. Like, the era of politics that we are in is so disgusting and toxic. I hate it. I genuinely hate it. I really hope that a new era of politics is on the horizon. Nothing lasts forever. Like this era of politics we're in right now that just absolutely sucks cannot last because nothing lasts forever. Better times are coming for like the world of discourse online, but it cannot come soon enough, man. This is just awful. Like Trump just tweeting off about the worst things every single day. Like, someone needs to take his fucking phone away, and the rest of the internet needs to agree. If that guy ever says anything, we all need to make fun of it. We all need to be dunking on it, because Trump genuinely has nothing but verbal diarrhea to spew at us. There should be we should never treat it as anything other than a biohazard. Anyway. If you enjoyed this video, if you found it entertaining, educational, or enjoyable in any way, then please consider leaving a like and a comment down below. It really does help. Comment Lima Bean if you watched this far in the video and want to let me know. It's like the code word to let me know that you watched all the way to the end. And of course, subscribe if you want to see more from me. I appreciate it. Hit the hype button if you can. And thank you for watching. Maybe join the Discord too through the link down below if you want to see more from me and be a part of my community, especially the watch parties. You want to be there for the watch parties and movie nights. But until then, hopefully I'll see you in the next one, and thank you for watching.